Welcome to the facilitator feedback portion of the IQA Manual of Procedures training. What we will do with this portion is actually walk through the facilitator feedback assessments that you will administer at the P4 sessions. If you turn within your protocol to pages 21 through 27, this gives you the facilitator feedback form, and it will be the same form that is collected after each session, session 1, session 2, and session 3. You will give one to each of the two facilitators that are there, so there will be 2 of these within your packet. Just like the participant one, we're asking that at the top you write your name, or their name. They'll put their name, the name of the church, and their date. So if possible, if you could fill in the name of the church and the date, that may be helpful just to kind of keep things going. Make sure that it is filled out. One less thing that they would have to complete. So again, at the top, they'll put their name, the name of the church, and the date. But again, if you're able to support them with completing the church and the date, that could be helpful. Again, when you're coming, and we went over this in our training, within the protocol, you see, we ask that you introduce yourself. Every time you go to a church, every session, just make sure you check in with the facilitators as a courtesy. Ask, do they have any ideas of where they'd like you to sit so that you can observe the flow of the session. Express to them that you are a silent observer, that you're not there to take part in any of the discussions. And so having a seat where you can kind of see the dynamics of what is going on in here will be helpful. If they suggest a location that doesn't really seem to fit your ability to do that, we ask that you just graciously, ask and suggest a place that may be more appropriate for you to sit. If we walk through these forms, one of the things that we think may be helpful in them thoroughly completing this form is to allow them to complete some of the questions before they actually start teaching. So perhaps before all of the women arrive, as they're kind of checking in, you may want to give them this form. And if you look at the first set of questions, 1 through 5, these are some quick questions that they could answer without necessarily having facilitated the session for that day. So if you could have them complete that, which is about their experience implementing teach or any other health education roles that they may have had in the past. The next set of questions actually are about teach and their experience prior to the class. And so those ones would be appropriate for them to complete too prior to them facilitating. When you get to the third section, which would be on page 24, those actually are related to, and it's the grid, these are actually related to their session for that day. And so it would be appropriate for them to complete those after the session is done. And then if you turn to page 26, we want you to bring this to their attention that this is a little bit more of a narrative. And it allows them to really think about, what their strengths were that day, things that they may want to work on, things that they may want to work on prior to the next workshop or the next cohort of workshops. And if there's anything that we need to know just about their experience teaching, something that happened for the day, and then we invite them if they want to have this information back. Sometimes we're in a rush, we write things down, we don't really remember it before the next session. We can actually take this information and send it back to them. Only if they answer number 5, which lets them know that we can email this to them, and if they do, they can check yes, and if they don't, they can check no. If they do want this information, make sure to ask them to clearly write their email address so that we can send it to the appropriate email to them prior to the next session. This is actually one of the key reasons why we need the forms to be brought back within no later than 2 days, so that we have the ability to get the information and send it back prior to them before the next session, if that is something that either the facilitators are looking for. So again, these are, we're suggesting that there are some questions, those first two sets, that the facilitators may be able to complete prior to them teaching, but the grid, the last set of questions, and the brief statements, those are ones that we want to invite them to complete after. We're suggesting this breakup because we think that it may make it easier for them to completely fill out these evaluations. Very similarly to the participant evaluations, we are asking you to make sure that you thoroughly go through each of these pages as they are giving them back to you to make sure that they are completed. Again, that no spaces are left blank. And again, you can suggest to them that if there is something that they aren't able to answer or don't have a response for, to put in A so that we know that it was not left blank intentionally. Again, those are your brief walkthrough of the facilitator feedback forms that are collected after each session from both of the facilitators at session 1, session 2, and session 3. All right, hope you guys enjoyed that.